I am Kimberly Holland, Coordinator of Alumni Affairs and Reunion Programs at Tuskegee University. We will now honor those Tuskegee alumni that have passed since their last reunion. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God laid for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work or play. Tasks undone must stay that way. I found that peace at the close of the day. If parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Ah, yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish for you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I savored much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and share with me. God wants me now. He set me free. Let's take some time for silent reflection.
Good morning. Blessings to all of you this beautiful Sunday morning. As we open this 103rd Founders Day Convocation, we remember the creator, Lewis Adams, the builder, Booker T. Washington, and all of those who followed in their footsteps, on whose shoulders we stand. The legacy is real, and we want that legacy to continue to light the world. This is the culminating activity of this year's Founders Day Convocation and events, and we hope you have participated in all of the activities that have been planned for you. And we also hope that we will be back in the chapel for Founders Day in 2022. Thank you again for your cooperation and your support.
Let us receive the invocation. Dear God, thank you for these years of learning and leadership opportunities, for these years of bold and courageous resilience, for these years of hard work, sacrifice, and significant stewardship for our distinctive purpose here at Tuskegee University. We appreciate and celebrate your work here in this place through these years among us. Grant us wisdom. Grant us courage for the living of these days. For the more excellent way we pray. Amen.
Madam President, Mayor Haygood, President Rashawn, descendants of Dr. Booker T. Washington's family, the Lewis Adams family, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, administration, alumni, in particular, the reunion classes in attendance, intimate presidential associates, students, parents, and friends. On behalf of the Tuskegee University Board of Trustees, I bring you greetings. Today is a very special day. It is our 103rd Founders Day. It is a day of reflection, celebration, and remembrance of our founder, Dr. Booker T. Washington. On this occasion, we reflect on his vision, leadership, and the hard work which gave rise to this great institution. We can all take pride in this iconic historic place in which we devote our time, our treasure, and our energy. We reflect on the purpose and the values that abide as the common threads or pillars which have connected the members of this university and community for decades, even though so much has changed. The good news is Tuskegee has been a pioneer and major contributor, which has forever changed this nation and the world. As we reflect on our mission to prepare students as professionals within the global economy, from a one-room shanty with 30 adult students to 100 buildings, 2,700 students, a global presence, a myriad of research facilities, numerous patents and honors, 5,000 acres of land, progressive movement in our national rankings, a feeder pool for the military, the largest contributor of African American veterinarians, a major contributor to the global workforce, aviation, agriculture, healthcare, government, and civic communities, Tuskegee has earned its rightful place in history. I can only imagine how proud Dr. Washington and the others that followed, Moton, Patterson, Foster, and Peyton, would be of all that Tuskegee has accomplished and be excited about this university's future. Even with all of the challenges before us, the foundation still remains to educate the head, the heart, and the hand. Self-sufficiency, to lift up others, and most importantly, to be a credit to our ancestors. We would be remiss if we did not recognize George Campbell and Colonel Lewis Adams for the role they played in founding this university. Without House Bill 165, the dream and vision of educating African Americans may have been delayed or non-existent. We owe so much to them, and we have a responsibility to carry out Booker's vision for years to come. Tuskegee, like other HBCUs, are at a crossroads, recovering from a global pandemic, coping with leadership changes, financial constraints, and technological changes. I view these as opportunities for greatness, opportunities to elevate ourselves beyond what others expect or think is possible. In the coming months, we will roll out a new strategic plan. This plan will be used to guide Tuskegee's future. The Board of Trustees looks forward to working with you to turn this plan into reality, giving our students the resources they need for success, and to create solutions to some of the world's most complex problems. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support, and enjoy this time of reflection and celebration.
Greetings. I am Skylar Jehazel Rugley, the 91st Miss Tuskegee University, and on behalf of the 23rd Mr. Tuskegee University and the 2020-2021 Royal Court, it is my esteemed honor to welcome you to the 103rd Founders Day Convocation. It is our humble desire that as we celebrate Mother Tuskegee and recognize the classes represented today, that we, the Tuskegee University family, enjoys this very special virtual observance. Thank you. TU, you know.
I am pleased to introduce to you this morning a young man who is a graduate of our Tuskegee University. Dr. Ronald Rochon became the University of Southern Indiana's fourth president in July 2018, after 8 years serving as provost at another institution. In his first year as president, he successfully secured over $61 million in state funding for capital projects and operations from his first biennial budget presentation to the Indiana legislature. The university also experienced increased growth in the performance of funding matrix of overall degree completion, at-risk degree completion, STEM degree completion, student persistence, and on-time graduation rates. Under his leadership, the university has implemented its third strategic plan, Accelerating Impact, which includes goals for improving student success, fostering impactful engagement, elevating the visibility and reputation of the university, and strengthening its financial visibility, all of which he plans to achieve through collaborative community, regional, state, national, and global initiatives. During his tenure as provost, Rochon oversaw the revamping of the university core curricula and University One-on-One seminar course. He also led the establishment and approval process of USI's second doctoral program in educational leadership, advanced new opportunities and programs for undergraduate, graduate, and online learning, students, and also fostered new approaches to recruit both domestic and international students to campus and develop programs to help them succeed. President Rochon earned a bachelor's degree at Tuskegee University and master's and doctoral degrees from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. His doctoral work was in educational policy studies and with an emphasis in educational history and policy analysis. President Rochon is married to Mrs. Lynn Wade Rochon, and they are both natives of Chicago, Illinois. They are the proud parents of one son and one daughter. Please join me as we welcome Dr. Ronald S. Rochon.
Hello, Tuskegee University. Dr. Morris, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And also thank you for your leadership during this important time in our university's history. I am so much appreciative of your call to me, inviting me to provide this talk. It humbled me and also just left me speechless with this opportunity. I want to also acknowledge the Board of Trustees and thank you for your continued leadership working with the administration, the faculty and staff to govern this institution to execute its mission. To the faculty and staff specifically though, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you do on each and every day to serve and also to educate the student body. To the General Assembly of Alabama, thank you for your continued support as well. And to each of the reunion classes, to each of you being celebrated, you know your names, your years of service and attendance to the university are listed in the program. So I just thank you for being here. We honor you, we celebrate you. I want to also acknowledge the Founders Day Committee, these individuals who work behind the scenes. These are sheroes and heroes. We thank you for all of your hard work. And to the library teams of Fisk University, New Mexico State University, and also Tuskegee, thank you for allowing me access to rare finds, rare intellectual finds about this amazing institution. To the brothers of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, my fraternity brothers, I thank you for teaching me throughout my tenure at Tuskegee that friendship truly is essential to the soul. And also I want to acknowledge Dr. McNair. We wish you well as you continue to recover. I send you respect, love, and admiration. And last but not least, I want to thank my colleagues and my dear, dear friends at the University of Southern Indiana, individuals who have supported me and who are as excited about me delivering this talk as I am today. They have been working behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to make sure that I am prepared to provide you with this talk. So thank you to my colleagues. I'm going to provide you with a couple of short stories to help you understand why founders is so important to me, why it is such an important component about what we need to be thinking about. I'm going to begin with a quote from Dr. Booker T. Washington. He said, "I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed." Remember that quote, trying to succeed, because it will fold into the theme of where I want to go with these stories. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I was a young kid, very, very shy, not very confident in school. I remember vividly being excited about my senior year in high school because this was the chance for me to fulfill my mother and father's dream. Neither one of them had gone to college, but they made it very clear that for my brother, my sister, and myself, that this was not an option. We were going to go to school. We were going to go ahead and get a degree. My father, he was laid back. He allowed my mother to just run very freely with this dream and this vision of hers as it pertained to the firstborn, me. And Tuskegee was all she talked about. Now, let me be candid with you. I'm not sure that I was all that excited about leaving Chicago to go to Alabama, but my mother made it clear that this was the spot for me. She wanted me to learn more about my Blackness, more about my culture, more about Black history. My mother wanted me to see examples of possibility through people that looked like me, that would take care of me, that would nurture me. Now, I didn't understand the significance of this, being 18 years of age, but I really get it now because these components really are the foundation of why I am sitting as a president today. So thank you to my mom. She was able to reach out through her very limited yet effective network and find a man by the name of Jasper Williams, who resided in Chicago. Dr. Williams was a trustee of Tuskegee at the time, but he was also a graduate of Tuskegee. He majored in business. He graduated with honors. This was a brilliant human being. But Dr. Williams gave of himself. He and his brother started a clinic on the South Side to serve Black communities, providing holistic health. And he committed his life to serving others. Where he, my mother, and my father got together, they talked about me visiting Tuskegee, and Dr. Williams said, "Listen, I'm going there in a couple of weeks. I can take your son with me," at no cost, in fact. Dr. Williams had his own plane, and I should tell you all, at that time, I had never been on an airplane in my entire life. I was more excited about the flight than anything else. I said, "Dr. Williams, count me in." I remember us flying. All I could see were clouds, and he allowed me to hold this steering wheel, and I was so excited. I can remember like it was yesterday. It was so important and so impactful in my life. Dr. Williams and I landed at Moulton Field in Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama, with all the history of the airmen being present. He was telling me about this history, about intellectual exchanges. He told me about Booker T. Washington and all that he did to serve the nation. Dr. Williams was proud of Tuskegee. He was proud of the student body. He was proud of being a trustee. He loved this place. And I will tell you that his love was infectious. It was getting me excited about the possibility of not only going there, but maybe even, in fact, becoming a trustee myself one day. I remember him showing me pictures of Tuskegee later on in our weekend visit of different scenarios where African-American students who were attending the school were actually responsible for making bricks, cultivating crops, raising animals. Tuskegee students did it all. And he talked about this industrial, intellectual nature that was involved in the pedagogical practices of Tuskegee. He said, "These are the teaching methods that make this place work. This is the DNA. We care about who you are." Well, Dr. Williams came to Tuskegee time and time again for trustee meetings. He would never, ever come without finding me. In fact, I have a picture when I was a young fraternity guy on Tuskegee's campus, and I remember Dr. Robert Davis, a good friend of mine, my homeboy, in fact. In that picture, you can see him pointing down at my head. That was Robert Davis. He and I were so fortunate to have Dr. Williams look for us. he would always ask how you're doing. What are you doing? How is school going? And you can never just say it's going fine. He wanted to know, what does that mean quantitatively? What does that mean qualitatively? Define fine for me, son. Let me know how you are doing. So we were fortunate to have this man in our lives, helping us to understand the significance of his presence. I went to graduate school at Illinois after finishing in Tuskegee, and I majored in animal sciences with an emphasis in reproductive physiology. I would call Dr. Williams often because he became not only a mentor, but he was a good friend in my life. He invited me on lots of different trips. I would go and hear him give talks nationally. He was in high demand. This man was so impactful in the field of medicine. I remember calling Dr. Williams' office on a Friday afternoon because I wanted to just hear his voice. He was a mentor, a friend, a confidant, and I loved just talking to him periodically. They had indicated to me that I had just missed him. His assistant said that they were on their way to actually get away and have some R&R for the weekend, and that she would make sure that I heard from him on Monday upon his return. That Monday came, and devastating news hit me as well. Mrs. Williams became a little ill during the flight home and took a commercial flight from that point all the way to Chicago. But Dr. Williams, his son, and his son's fiance got back in the plane that he was piloting, and the engine failed. They crashed right outside of Bloomington, Indiana. They were all killed. I remember vividly feeling devastated, feeling empty, feeling this sense of loss. I had not lost a lot of people in my life to this point, so I didn't know what grieving really was, but I began to learn immediately. I also wanted to find out what I could do to keep his legacy alive, keep his memory in my mind where he would be proud of my efforts. So we're very, very hard to do so. I went to the funeral on the south side of Chicago in Hyde Park, and Dr. Benjamin Payton, our former president, he came to the funeral and provided a very, very eloquent speech about the contributions that Dr. Williams provided to the community and, most importantly, to Tuskegee. I remember also, just thinking about those words and his impact. After I began to really think about this talk, I went to the Burnt Oaks Cemetery Digital Archive most recently, and I looked up Dr. Williams to learn more about that impact that he had across the globe. And I saw his name, I saw his son's name, but I also saw Clara B. Williams, his mother. And I began to just delve into her research, into her history by doing some research and learning more about her. Mrs. Williams actually was a graduate of Prairie View A&M University, another HBCU. She received her degree in education. She became a teacher, and she really believed in literacy, really believed in mathematics. Mrs. Williams was unwavering with regard to her commitment to education and making sure that her three sons understood that they too would pursue education with great discipline and great rigor. Mrs. Williams actually relocated with her husband closer to New Mexico. And she decided to go to New Mexico State University for an additional degree, an additional credential. When she got there, she found out that she would not be allowed to enter the classroom doing any of her coursework. She had to stand outside or sit outside to take notes and to participate this way. This policy was so effective by her faculty members that the student body even joined in. They made it clear that if she was to participate in commencement, they would boycott. Mrs. Williams was never allowed in 1957, when she graduated, the opportunity to enjoy her pomp and circumstance. She was denied all of that. And I began to wonder about not just the faculty, but also what was happening with the department chair. Where was he? What was happening with the college dean, the university provost, the president? Where were the board members? Where were they with regard to this policy? Now, I couldn't find a picture of Mrs. Williams sitting out in the hallway, but I did find one of George McLaurin in 1948 when he was attending Oklahoma University's law school. He too suffered the same kind of discrimination, told that he could not come into the classroom. So I really, I think about this, and I want our students to see this photo. I want them to understand this history. I want them to understand the resiliency, the grit, the perseverance and discipline that so many people that were African American had to endure, had to work through just to get their credential certified by the university. These individuals are sheroes and heroes for us all. Mrs. Williams was contacted years later, in fact, nearly 4 decades later, by New Mexico State University, providing her with the greatest honor, that of an honorary doctorate. In her interview, Mrs. Williams said this is one of the greatest honors of her life, not just because she was going back, but she wanted her sons and her grandchildren to see this moment, to cherish this moment, that even through the years and through the time of discrimination, people began to recognize her sacrifice and her commitment to the world and also to service. HBCUs around this nation were not only developed to provide people of African descent a place to go to school, they were places, these were humane spaces, humane intellectual, social, emotional, and physical spaces where people were protected. Tuskegee's DNA is just that. When you think about this, you think about, just after slavery, just developing an institution where individuals can find safe haven and learn how to read, how to write, how to compute, how to create new knowledge. That's the responsibility and also the outcome of these institutions. This is what makes them so incredibly great. I also think of Maya Angelou when I think about Tuskegee. Still, I rise. That's who these students were. That's who these teachers were. That's who the faculty and staff, this is what they brought every day as a non-negotiable to make sure the students did Black excellence. So at this point, this is where I want to go back to that first quote from Booker T. Washington about obstacles. These individuals, they faced so many obstacles and did not deter, did not turn around, did not turn back. They walked right to the fire. I will not be turned around. I deserve this. I am worthy. My mother had this anthem that she played so often in our household. It was an anthem by Nina Simone called Young, Gifted, and Black. I remember this so vividly well. And my mother loved this song. She loved this artist. And again, we sang the song, we recited the song, but I had no idea of its impact, of its meaning, in particular with regard to today and our students today. So I want students to understand this right here, that as we engage in Black Lives Matter, I want us to understand that God made no mistake with us. God made no mistake with our student body. I think about this so often because I want to communicate to all of our students that the color of your skin, the shape and size of your nose, your lips, the texture of your hair, the way you speak, the way you live, the way you articulate, the way you love, God made no mistake. This is the power of this song, Young, Gifted, and Black, to help our students understand the reason why this founding of this institution was so important is because we need to be reminded sometimes, not trying to convey or convince others, but sometimes just remind yourself that you are worthy. We are worthy to pursue our educational curiosity to the nth degree and bring greatness to this globe, bring greatness to our country, continue to transform communities and relationships as we have seen historically, and most importantly, now and beyond. So Tuskegee's founder, with that quote, means so much to me with regard to how we see 1881 and how we celebrate in 2021. One of the things that I think is important that I let you know is why I love this place so much, why I get excited when I talk about Tuskegee to whomever I come in contact with. I remember vividly the teachers that I had, the teachers you had when we were students at Tuskegee. Now, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm going to name just a few people. And trust me, there are so many individuals, staff and faculty alike, all across the campus that made our experience so rich. But I will never forget Dr. Loretta Burns. Dr. Burns was my English professor. She was always demanding more from us. I remember getting papers back from her with red marks everywhere, indicating that you can do better, indicating that you can try harder. Dr. Burns, thank you. Dr. Ralph Noble, he's the reason that I ended up at Illinois. Dr. Noble was this giant among giants in reproductive physiology. He was so kind. Dr. Walter Hill, I can remember you telling us that there is a difference between dirt and soil. Don't confuse the two. Always stressing that to each of us in soil sciences. Mrs. Scipio was my math teacher. I was so intimidated by this woman because she was so brilliant, but she brought math alive in a way I could learn it. I could digest it. Dr. Galley, Dr. Stott, Dr. Mahoney, Danny T. Williams. And everyone who took Dr. Fluker, you understand that you were about to be introduced to African-American history like nobody's business. And you had better come prepared. You had better read your assignments because he would call you out. Not to embarrass you, but to build you up, to help you understand what the world would do if you were not prepared. This is why I love this place. The DNA of Tuskegee was about access, people being accessible to us whenever we needed them, people turning us into scientists and researchers and programmers, engineers, accountants, entrepreneurs, them helping us understand that everything was possible because we were there with them. They wanted us to be not only better than them, they want us to exceed and excel so that we will make the next generation better than us. This is why I love this place so very, very much. I'm asking you all to please consider the gifts that these faculty and staff members provided us, and think about the kinds of gifts we can provide Tuskegee today and tomorrow and moving forward, so that Tuskegee will be living another 140 plus years long after we're gone. And this opportunity of celebrating founders will be looked upon as an event that should always remain at the forefront of our minds, because Booker T. Washington, Lewis Adams, George Washington Carver, a scientist who turned and revolutionized agricultural sciences. These people and so many others that we don't even have the names of are so responsible for us doing what we're doing right now. I tell you without hesitation, without reservation, that I would not be a sitting president of a university, the University of Southern Indiana, if not for Tuskegee University. It is that plain and that simple. So bring your gifts back. Bring your resources back. Bring your solutions back. President Morris is going to need our assistance, our support moving forward like never before, because these are very complex times for all universities, let alone a beautiful, amazing HBCU like Tuskegee. Let me share one last quote from Dr. Booker T. Washington, and then my last story. He simply says, there are two ways of exerting one's strength. One is in pushing down, the other is pulling up. See, Dr. Washington and the members of the community were always thinking about lifting as we climb, pulling up, pushing up, serving others. And again, this is why this place is so incredibly important. This is the DNA that we have come to know, love, and also expect. My last story is simple. It's about my mom. I go back where I began, her vision, her dream. 2009, March 17, my mother became an angel. And I recall vividly she living with my wife and my kids and I, and my brother and my sister. We were involved in trying to find a cure to cancer. She left us much, much too soon. This is the first time where I think I had become extremely overt with my anger and my disappointment and my grieving. I didn't know I was grieving even before she left us. But one day I came home and I was extremely sharp with my wife and my kids, and my mother overheard this conversation, and I knew she was not pleased. She called me into her bedroom and she said, Ron, come and sit down with me. And I remember telling my mom, listen, I don't have time to sit down right now. I've got a meeting with the doctor. I've got some research to do with regard to this cancer. We're going to find an answer. Mickey, Mark, and I, we're going to find out ways in which we can cure this. We're going to get this done. And she said abruptly, come and sit down. Come and sit right here. Sit down with me. And I sat on the edge of the bed. My energy wasn't healthy. It wasn't good. And she said to me, come closer. Come closer to me. And I didn't want to come closer because I didn't want to break. I did not want to cry. She said, come closer to me. I did what she asked me to do, and she grabbed my hand and pulled me in and began to hug me. and rubbed my face and my head and kissed me on the cheek. And right then, I remember I just broke. I cried like a baby for the very first time. And I wanted her to know that I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want to see her leave us. My mother said to me, she said, "Ron, I'm dying." She said, "This has nothing to do with you, son. You can't control this. I love you for your effort. I love my daughter and my son for their effort. What you and Michelle and Mark are doing, every mother deserves. But you can't control this." My mother said, "All I need from you right now is time. So all I want is for you to sit here and love me. Sit here and talk with me. Sit here and feed me. Spend time with me. It's all I want, son." I tell you this story because time is finite for each and every one of us. What we do on this planet to serve others is up to us. And so I challenge each of you by asking, what are you doing with regard to sharing your time, sharing your gifts, sharing your resources with others? What are you doing to uplift? What are you doing to build? What are you doing to create solutions? My mother taught me on her deathbed that time is the greatest gift that we can share with another human being. Uninterrupted, respectful, civil, loving time. Tuskegee, today you have given me this gift. You've allowed me to come before you and share my story, my love story, in fact, about Tuskegee, about Dr. Washington and others who are responsible for this institution still being alive, still sustaining itself, still thriving in a way we are serving students and transforming lives. I thank you for your time today. I thank you for allowing me to come before you today. Dr. Morris, I am forever indebted. I am so humbled and so honored that you believe in me, an alum from this prestigious institution, to come before this body to provide this message. I thank each and every one of you all. I bid you peace, I bid you grace, I bid you dignity. And I say thank you, and I say Asante Sana. And to our student body, I simply say, T-U.
Turn
in all of our Founders Day events, we pause at this point to recognize the descendants of our creator, Lewis Adams, and our builder, Dr. Booker T. Washington. Images of these individuals are shown on the screen.
To Chairperson Norma Clayton, Dr. Charlotte Morris, Interim President, Dr. Ronald Rashawn, Tuskegee alumnus and President of Southern Indiana University, to the administration, faculty, staff, students, and alumni, good morning. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Tuskegee National Alumni Association on this 103rd Annual Founders Day Convocation. It is indeed a pleasure to be back on campus, even if it is virtual. To you, Shaw, thank you for that most inspiring message. To the reunion classes of 1945, 46, 50, 51, 55, 56, 60, 61, 65, 66, the Golden Class, 70 and 71, 75 and 76. And we do welcome the new class of 1980 and 81. We have come to enjoy this wonderful virtual reunion. Just a reminder, TNAA will host a 4-hour virtual biennial convention on April the 24th, 2021. We do hope to see you there. And do plan to attend the virtual regional conferences starting in June. It will be the North Central, the Northeastern, the Southeastern, the Southwestern, and the Western regions, and they will conclude in August. The Tuskegee experience dictates to us that we must remember our past so that we are committed to the future. Thank you, and we look forward to meeting each and every one of you on campus fall 2021. Thank you.
Hello, Tuskegee University, and hello, our TU alumni. My name is Lakiva Murchington, a junior supply chain management major from Milledgeville, Georgia. I was recently elected SGA Treasurer for the 2021-2022 school year. I am currently a member of the Pre-Alumni Council here at Tuskegee University. I am proud to announce the giving totals for the classes of 1945, 1950, and 1955. The class of 1945 raised $1,250. The class of 1950 raised $23,200. And the class of 1955 raised $32,275. Jordan will now be giving her totals.
Thank you, Lakibra. Hello, my name is Jordan Kilnell, a sophomore nursing major from Dawson, Georgia. I am proud to announce the giving totals for the classes of 1960, 1965, and 1970. The class of 1960 raised $31,812. The class of 1965 raised $69,455. The class of 1970 raised $79,454.53. Now, Adaria will be giving her totals.
Thank you, Jordan. Hello, my name is Adaria Uten Groves, a junior communications major from Chicago, Illinois. I am proud to announce the giving totals for the classes of 1975, 1980, 1946, and 1951. The class of 1975 raised $105,043.23. The class of 1980 raised $74,612.15. The total for the 2020 reunion classes raised last fiscal year is $417,101.91. The class of 1946 raised $947.03. The class of 1951 raised $13,650.
The class of 1956 raised $8,830. The class of 1961 raised $46,426. The class of 1966 raised $150,083.70.
The golden class of 1971 raised $261,122. The class of 1976 raised $77,338. And the class of 1981 raised $31,780.
The total for the 2021 reunion classes raised this fiscal year is $590,178.13. We would like to thank the reunion classes for the phenomenal amount raised for the virtual Founders Day.
Thank you for all of your gifts and your contributions and your pledges. Let me recap a few highlights. This fiscal year, we secured over 1,400 donors on July 4th, celebrating our founding date during our historic 1881 challenge. We received a $20 million gift, the largest of the university's history, from philanthropist and author Mackenzie Scott. We had a historic philanthropist homecoming, raising over $140,000. We have 2,311 more donors this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year. We have 1,527 more alumni donors this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year. We received a $5 million gift from the charitable foundation established by philanthropist Stephen Feinberg. The gift will be used to establish the Stephen Feinberg Scholarship Program. We have 868 alumni donors that made their first gifts during this past year. Thank you again for your support. Although not in person, this has been a great Founders Day event, and our hope is that you have been enlightened, encouraged, and enriched by having participated in this year's virtual event. As we sing the words of Alma Mater, let's renew our commitment to the cause for which it was written. Thank you again for your support. Stay safe, wear your mask, and observe the protocols of this pandemic period. Thank you again for coming, and best wishes to each of you.
Let us receive the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Be gracious unto you, be gracious.